Welcome to this question and answer session. I'm Dr. Choi and Ali, and I'm excited to answer your questions. So, how this works is every week in my Facebook group for graduate students, it's called the Academic Society for Grad Students on Facebook. I put out a call to ask anyone if they have any questions for me, any questions that they want me to answer about grad school, and I will answer those questions in my next YouTube video. So, I've just been doing these live and I've been really enjoying it. So, as you all join, please say hello. Let me know if you're here. And also, if you're watching and you do have questions, just pop your questions into the chat and I will answer them. Okay, so let me go to my Facebook group. There was one major question, and so it'll probably take me a minute to answer it. The question is, what tips do you have for second year graduate students? So, what is life like as a second year graduate student? So every program is different, but you do start to hit certain milestones and you're planning for a really big milestone after your second year in a PhD program. Typically, once you've completed your second year, you're doing the one big thing that converts you from PhD student to PhD candidate. For me, it was taking my qualifying exams. Some people have comprehensive exams or oral exams. Some people have practicums. Some people have internships. It's usually like a big milestone marker at the end of the second year of graduate school. So it is a very important phase. But one thing that I should say is people really start to get their footing when they get to their second year of graduate school. Usually the first year, the first semester is a whirlwind. Everything's coming at you. You're like, oh my gosh, I have so many responsibilities. I don't know how to manage my actual life with my school life and my research, if you're doing that already, with my coursework, with teaching classes, if you have to do that. It's a lot going on, and it's a big adjustment period in that first year of grad school. So if you are starting grad school very soon, I put a link in the description of this video for my free masterclass on how to navigate your first semester of grad school and how to avoid the 3 big mistakes that most first year grad students make. So you definitely want to check that out. But if you are here because you are starting your second year of grad school, I want you to take a deep breath and know, like, oh my goodness, okay, you're going into this informed. Like, you know what grad school is all about. You know exactly what things worked well for you last year, and you know exactly what things did not work well for you. So my recommendation, first off, is to make a list, 2 columns. One list, what are all of the things that went really, really well that first year of grad school? What did you do well? And you want to kind of brainstorm how you can repeat that and make a plan to repeat those things in the second year. The second list is going to be a list of things that didn't go the way you wanted to, and figure out if there's any way that you could avoid these things. Maybe you were like always turning in assignments late last year, and you're like, I do not want to do that again. So, what is it that you need to do to actually get your assignments done? So, that would be the first thing that I would recommend for anyone going into their second year of their PhD program. Things that went well, things that did not go well. So a little bit of reflection. And then number 2, define your goals for the semester. I know most people are still in their coursework and they're maybe wrapping up their coursework in their second year of grad school. So what are your goals? Are your goals strictly to just do well in your classes, or are there particular classes that you'll be taking that are actually very important to your research or very important for your qualifying exams or comprehensive exams, right? We may need to take those classes a little bit more seriously. And those classes become more than just like about the grade, it's about the actual content in the class. So what is necessary to do well in those classes? I would, number 1, say, do not isolate yourself. And that means from the rest of your cohort as well as your professors, right? You probably learned last year that grad school is not something that you want to do on your own. You don't want to try to do grad school on an island. It is so, so important to get to know the other people in your cohort, whether you're in person or if you're online. It can be a bit more challenging when you're online, and I'll give you something that you can do to help with that as well. But Maybe it's you who starts the study group. Maybe it's you who hosts like a wrap-up session at the end of each week. All right, what did we learn this week? What are the main takeaways? Maybe it's you who kind of like organizes, who breaks up the readings, who's responsible for this reading and giving everyone like a recap, things like that. Also, get to know people outside of your classes as well. Me and my group of friends, we go to the gym together. We would take group exercise classes together. We trained for 5Ks together. We even trained for a half marathon. I think we did that. It was in our second or third year, I can't remember, of grad school. Okay, so that is my second thing, is figure out your goals. And if your goals are to do well in your classes, what is the purpose of doing well in the classes? It's no longer just doing well in the class to make the grade. What are you doing with the information that you're learning in the class? And then also my final major tip is, how can you prepare yourself for that next milestone? Because as I mentioned, at the end of your second year of grad school, you're going to hit a milestone in most programs where you need to pass your qualifying exams, you need to pass your comprehensive exams, you have to do an oral exam, you have to write some big paper, you have a practicum, you have an internship. What are the things that you need to do to prepare for those things? For me, I had qualifying exams. So I had to take a qualifying exam in two courses that were like a year long. And so I was actually taking those courses in my second year. So I was really thinking about, okay, what kind of deeper knowledge do I need? Can I look up previous qualifying exams? Can I talk to the graduate students who took the qualifying exams last year or this year? Ask them, what are the main things? Am I taking the course from the right professor to do well on these things? Get as much help and like be as intentional as you can about those courses that are related to those qualifying exams or those comprehensive exams. Save your notes, take meticulous notes, save your exams, save your papers, save all the homework. It's going to be important. It's going to be helpful for you. And also find a way to organize. I like to use a Notion to organize things. I made a Notion template for graduate students where you can like take notes and keep track of all of your readings and stay organized and plan out your weeks and days if you would like that. There's a link for it in the description of this video, or you can go to theacademicsociety.com/Notion. Okay, let's get into the specifics of what the people asked me in the group. So, and by the way, if you're just joining and you do have a question for me about grad school, please do leave it in the chat and I will answer it after I finish answering the questions from the group. Okay, so the question again was, what tips do you have for second year graduate students? And so I actually asked them to give me more details, like what kind of program are you in? Like what kind of responsibilities are you going to have in your second year? So one person said, I'm in my second year at Albany State's program for school counseling. I have a practicum and internships. I would like tips on staying motivated and balance having a job during grad school. And the second person said, for my program at University of Chicago in anthropology, it's the last year of courses, finalizing committee, and prep for comprehensive exams in the third year. So I'm actually going to start there. All right, so with this big milestone that happens at the end of your second year of grad school, like your qualifying exams, your comprehensive practicum, things like that, you're headed into research territory. You're finalizing your research topic. You're getting ready to write that dissertation. And so that means you need an advisor for your dissertation, which you may already have, as well as a dissertation committee. All right, so you don't have to decide the committee just yet, but it's time to start getting putting like feelers out and kind of looking out for who might be great to work with. So I mentioned in a couple videos ago, when I was looking for a dissertation advisor or committee chair, as they're called, I actually interviewed people. I emailed 3 professors and I was like, I'm interested in potentially working with you to write my dissertation and do research together. And I would love to know more about how we could work together. I've read what you've done. So I've read their papers. I know what research they're doing. I was strictly wanting to know how they work with students, if they have time to take on another student. And then I also wanted to see what was it like with the students they were currently working with. So you may want to interview them as well. So start putting an eye out and figuring out who you might want to work with. You can start with your professors. Whose classes have you enjoyed? Whose teaching styles have you not resonated with? Perhaps that's not someone you want to work with. Okay, and then let's see, prepping for comprehensive exams. Like I mentioned, take meticulous notes in the courses that are related to what your exams will be about. If your exams are based on like your research, make sure you organize all of your articles and documents. I would recommend rereading them fairly regularly because they kind of leave our brains, and take maybe good enough notes so that you don't actually have to read the whole paper again. That's really helpful. Start talking about it. I don't know if you take seminar classes, but present on some of those topics so you can get used to speaking about those topics as well. Okay, and then the other question is about, or the other part of this question is about practicum and internships. Now, I personally did not have internships. That wasn't part of my program. But from what I've learned from other graduate students, internships can feel like a job on top of your graduate school work. And so it can be like you are full-time graduate student and full-time person working, even though it is an internship. So that means that how you're used to working on your grad school work and prioritizing your time may have to shift. Perhaps you are someone that liked to work in the mornings on your graduate work, or work in the evenings on your graduate work, or during lunch on your graduate work. Your schedule may have to change, right? Maybe you'll be at your internship during the day, your classes in the evening, and then when does that give you time to study and prepare, right? Maybe you have to wake up a little earlier, maybe a couple hours early every day, and also one day on the weekend. From what I've learned about people who have graduate school and work at the same time is really being realistic about what you can do in one semester, right? So maybe your disciplinary course, maybe you're not taking 3 disciplinary courses, maybe you're taking 1 major course and 2 research courses, or 1 major course and a seminar. Maybe your schedule isn't as packed as it usually could be before having the internship. And then also being okay with working in pockets of time. Perhaps you won't have the big 3 to 5 hour blocks that you're used to working in. Maybe you can only get in a couple hours at a time. Maybe you can get in study time and work time during your commute or while you're waiting for the next thing to start. So really figuring out which tasks take a long time to get done, where you need uninterrupted time, and which kind of tasks just take a little bit of time that you can kind of squeeze in here and there. And then also being able to work on the weekends. I don't recommend working both days of the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday. I would recommend choosing one day to work. For me, I usually take Saturdays off completely, and I'll work Sunday afternoon to evening. And that's usually enough for me personally. But I will say go into the semester with a plan, and actually a work plan, like when are you going to squeeze in working, and just see how it goes for the first week. You can always adjust after. Okay, that's all that I had to answer the questions. Did anyone have any other questions for me before I go? Let me make sure that I answered everything. Oh yeah, I did want to say, for those of you who do not have a community within your grad school program, like you don't feel comfortable, or you don't know the other people in your cohort, you don't work together, you don't have people to bounce ideas off of, like I mentioned, it is really difficult, almost impossible, to go through grad school like on your own island. You do need the support, and you do need the support from people who actually know what's going on in the grad school program, like who actually is in grad school. Even better if they're in a program similar to yours. So I do have a group called Focus. It is an accountability and productivity group for graduate students. And we have monthly planning sessions. The next one actually is coming up this Saturday on July 29th. We're planning out the month of August together, and we go through my project management framework. And then weekly, I ask everyone to share their top 3 goals for the week, and I check in to make sure that you're on track. And then also daily, we have co-working. We have a 24/7 co-working space. Students are in there right now working together using the Pomodoro technique. The group, they really bond with each other. They get to know each other. They cheer each other on. They set goals and they achieve the goals. And I'm like really proud of the students in that group. The program is called Focus. So if you go to theacademicsociety.com/focus, you'll be able to find the program and join it if you are interested. Okay, thank you so much for today's video. I will see you in the next one. If you have additional questions that didn't get answered in this video, go to my Facebook group and leave your question under the Monday post. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.